And with that, let the game begin.
He played e4. Wow. He played e4 in game 1. Then he played d4 in game 3. And now e4 once again. Gukesh is like not letting things settle down.
Yeah. And actually, that's the cool part, right? In this World Championship, every game we've seen a new opening.
No!
And Ding repeats. He goes for the French.
Bhai, Ding Liren. So confident, yeah? Brave guy.
Very brave, very gutsy. The French defense has a terrible reputation. Well, terrible as in questionable at the top level. And an exchange
French.
This is a very solid approach by Gukesh.
I can tell you something. Like earlier, everyone thought that this is a very dull and dry opening. But these days, exchange French is being used by white to fight for an advantage in the opening. And so we cannot discount like ambitions from Gukesh.
Guys, the surprising thing about this is that this is the opening that happened in round 1, which shocked everyone. Ding has played this against Yan in the previous World Championship match. He lost that game. He plays it in round 1. Gukesh is in the driver foot, but something happens. Inaccuracies happen. Ding takes the win, but the world thought it's a one-game opening. It's a surprise. It will not be repeated because Team Gukesh will prepare against it. The French doesn't have a great reputation. I'm shocked with this decision by Team Ding.
इतना सीरियस है?
मेरे लिए तो बहुत सीरियस है भाई.
नहीं मुझे देखो see honestly I don't know much about chess.
No, बढ़िया question, great. I think how many of you had this question on your mind जो बलराज भाई ने बोला है देखो.
मतलब
Speak for the crowd. You know, it's not easy to break through in such positions.
And to that point, the side that moves first, white, will always have that slight push, right? It will be the first to occupy this open file. C5, no symmetry anymore. So Ding has, he strikes in the center. This is honestly unprecedented, yeah. In the World Championship, 2 French games with the black pieces back to back. Ding is ready for the fight, and I want to remind everyone, in game 1, even though Gukesh lost, he was the one who was pushing that G4 idea.
Yeah.
He got that edge in the opening.
And right now, I'm looking at the database, and it turns out that the exchange French is a big weapon of Magnus Carlsen. So you can sense that this opening is like you're playing for these minute edges that Magnus Carlsen loves. But what about Gukesh? You know, Gukesh is an aggressive player. Why is he doing this?
I think after game one में he went all in and he realized कि maybe मुझे सब कुछ दाव पे लगाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Let me play for a slight edge similar to the game he won. And फिलहाल के लिए this is the typical setup where he has a very good bishop on d3. काफी बढ़िया चंगा लग रहा है king side की तरफ pointed. And now Ding Liren 3 minutes behind for now. But who do you think is more surprised here?
Me.
Tanya, full surprised. I think Tanya, it will take you some time.
I was expecting e5. I was expecting a solid approach by Ding. The match is level. This is Gukesh's only white in this phase of the tournament. Tomorrow Ding plays white, right? I was expecting a more solid, a more conservative approach by Ding rather than this French.
Yeah, but also Tanya, I think Ding is fishing for his chances with both colors because he sees that with white he's not getting an advantage and Gukesh is not that ambitious. So why not even keep that option alive with black? Is that the move that he played? Did he
Yes.
push his pawn to
Yes.
c4?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, bhai. Everything that we know about chess openings is being right now tested, because they say you shouldn't release the tension in the position so prematurely. Like यहाँ पे there's a tension between the D pawn and the C pawn.
Yup. And सागर भाई टेंशन से याद है वेरी अमृता.
भाई भाई मेरे को तो टेंशन नहीं आता, आपको आता है क्या उसी टाइम? अरे ये क्या, मेरे को ऑन record with 25,000 people, Sahil bhai making me do say things. Balraj bhai, did I give you a good answer?
No, you have not.
नहीं? अरे भाई.
I think the correct answer to that is how do you release tension in this position? How? I mean, why are you?
वो pawn एकदम solid हो गया d4 का. There is no real pressure on it. Now the bishop, as Sahil pointed out, is on a beautiful diagonal. Other bishop is on this diagonal. It all is looking very, very nice for Gukesh.
Also, do you believe that Ding is going to try for a win today, especially before the next rest day comes in? Because yesterday was a draw, and he may just think that before tomorrow becomes a draw, today let me try for a win.
Definitely Ding wants to win, but this last move that Gukesh has played, queen check. If Ding puts his queen in the middle, I don't think Ding can win such a position, because then queens are traded.
But the big question is, if the queens get traded, white को कितना chance होगा to push? Because you can't block this trade. Now, if you put your bishop in front of your queen, let's say queen e7 to block the check, it would be the first move many of us would think. If the bishop tries to avoid this queen trade, you're looking at possibilities of the black knight jumping
Bishop
forward.
e3, no? नहीं, यहाँ पे queen
e7.
e7.
Okay.
So, what is the real
And now
solution?
knight g4. The real solution is, how
For
did
black.
French happen and has black solved problems?
Okay.
तानिया थोड़ा बाहर निकल ये सदमे
I
से.
can't move. I'm not being able to move on, in life right now. But queen e7 खेला नहीं गया है अभी. Queen e2 check on the board.
Yeah, Ding is thinking, should I put the queen in the middle, or what is the other option, guys? Anyone here? What is the other way to block the check?
With
Bishop e6.
But counter question, white क्या खेलेगा फिर? What are you walking into? Because
अरे बढ़िया भाई, वीकेंड पे फुल स्ट्रेंथ से लोग आए हैं, very strong. Who is the highest rated player here in the crowd? अरे
Sagar bhai, I definitely know I am the lowest rated player in this crowd.
नहीं भाई, आपका 1000 तो है ना?
1000, लेकिन अभी blunders तो बहुत कर रहा हूँ.
अच्छा,
तो I really don't know.
maybe around 800, 900, but is there anyone above 2000 here? Arre! We have Rakesh bhai here, we have Niranjan, we have many strong players, we have an Olympic gold medalist here.
Yes.
भाई तो मतलब एनालिसिस तो बढ़िया होने वाला है यहाँ पे. We also have an NM.
हो गए
Oh
हैं.
भाई,
Queen straight हो गए हैं.
और एक सदमा तानिया के
और
लिए.
एक सदमा आ गया है मुझे. What is the move number? 9th move, queens are off the board. And you spoke about pawn chain, white ka bishop on the diagonal. But black also has a space advantage, right? You've got one of your pawns into your opponent's camp. Space advantage क्या होता है? Middle of the board, get one of your pawns across it. You have more space for your pieces to move around. Sar, maybe we can point that c4 pawn out to show that point. It's like, Sagar, तुम बॉम्बे में रह रहे हो, ठीक है, तुम
अरे मेरा घर पे अटैक मत कर भाई.
बॉम्बे में 1 BHK,
घर में
तुम
किसके
1 BHK में नहीं हो, पर इमेजिन 16 लोग, 16 pieces, 16 लोग 1 BHK apartment में they're trying to live. Everyone will come in each other's way. But on the other hand, imagine Balraj का घर. 16 people happily moving from one space to another. भाई सब खुश हैं.
करेक्ट.
मतलब तुम भी खुश हो, but
भाई मेरा तो तुम समझ ही लो, तुम बहुत टाइम से कर रहे हो. गाइस, तानिया का घर वैसे वेरी वेरी स्पेक्टेक्युलर.
तुम तो आए नहीं हो आज तक, तो क्या ही बोल रहे.
But
इधर
I get your point.
Yes, that black has more space for the pieces to move around, to develop. So what does Gukesh have in mind to go for this early queen trade?
You see, the bar is a little bit in white's favor.
Yeah.
Right? So this is how modern chess opening preparation works. If the bar is giving 0.3 to white, then they don't discount it. They are like, let's go deeper. And I believe that Gukesh's team has studied this opening a little bit more in depth and tried to find some ideas for white.
एंड जो गेम गुकेश जीता था उसमें क्वींस कौन से मूव पे ट्रेड हुई थी?
Exactly, somewhere around 10th move.
Yeah.
That also had a queen trade, and I believe that Gukesh has this ability to mix up things with the queen, without the queen. He can create that chaos. So we are not looking at a dull game.
But is this what you call like running into the end game, or the mid game is still very strong right now?
I would call this a queenless middle game.
Correct.
Because apart from the queens, everything else is on the board.
Okay.
So I don't think this is an end game just yet.
Right. I agree with you, Tanya. And also right now, we have had 5 games that have reached this position before. And they are all, no grandmaster has played this before. They are all by relatively weaker opponents. I am actually a little surprised that Gukesh is thinking here, because if he was prepared, he would have blitzed out his move. तो वो सोच रहा है. It's been 3 minutes 20 seconds. You can look at the top left corner on your screen. There is a clock that shows the time taken for the last move.
Sagar bhai, something very interesting I read this morning, that FIDE announced that yesterday's game was played with 100% accuracy by both players.
Wow.
And of course that means that is the result is a draw. But like, I think that there were a lot of puzzles that were represented or presented towards Gukesh, and he managed to diffuse them very well. So I think right now Gukesh is taking all this while only so that he can come back with creative replies.
Yeah, I agree. He has castled here, Balraj bhai. But what Ding did is very quickly, he brought his rook here and he wants to artificially castle. Usko king ko andar leke jana hai. He wants to get his king in.
And in one move, he's put the rook on the exact square that it wants to be, the only open line. A rook in chess is only as strong as the files that it has. Rook e8, I think this is a smart move by Ding. Follow up is easy, but what does Gukesh have in mind? Now, just talking about how this match has gone, right? What happens is, French खेला पहले game में. Gukesh's team will sit and think about, हो सकता है French फिर से होगा. Chances are not that high, but it's possible. So they'll come up with a little small idea. This is what modern chess is about. In modern chess, it's about surprising your opponent. They would perhaps not have looked at it super deeply, but that little shot that Ding repeats, this is the direction we want to go into. Which is why I think Gukesh knows the plans, he knows the direction, but the exact moves he's going to take a little time every move to figure that out.
Right, and maybe it's some kind of a reverse psychology by Ding. He's like Gukesh will not expect French, so French खेल लेते हैं, and maybe he wouldn't have prepared so much, so he played it, and I think it has worked out pretty decently. Just want to read one super chat here, which is from someone in Dallas, Chinmay ji. वो कह रहे हैं कि I am awake all night. It's fireworks already, not from the board, but from Tanya. She was all out against Ding for time management yesterday, and now with his French today. Way to go, Tanya.
But when I spoke about the time management yesterday, Ding fixed it.
True.
You know, we saw actually, I think his best time management yesterday. It was pretty level throughout. Still getting over French, but I think I'm almost there now because we've entered this very different part of the game. And we see the bar, right? Because it says that white is doing well here. But everything we pointed out, black ka rook on the open file, a little bit more space. And I'm trying to figure out where is Gukesh's chances. And I think it relies that Gukesh will be the first one to have a pawn break in this position at some point.
With B3, you mean?
With B3, trying to open files and ask questions to these pawns that have overextended themselves.
Ooh, that's such a nice move here. I think already we can play B3, right? Because if black plays B5, let's ask our chat here, what is a very typical move that white can play in such a position?
Yeah,
अरे
बहुत ही
बढ़िया
strong audience
भाई.
है आज यार.
That is too good. And Balraj bhai,
Yes, bhai.
यहाँ पे A4 क्यों strong है? मतलब can black not play A6 and connect the pawns?
Because
I'm
it
putting
takes-
Balraj bhai on. Oh,
Yeah,
and then
and then see, let's just do the moves.
Yeah,
let's just play out the
let's
moves,
have it.
right?
Take-
Pawn take, I'll take your pawn
pawn
back.
take, and then you take the rook, right?
Arre! Nice. Bhai, Balraj
Yes,
bhai.
bhai. Like I feel so strong right now.
Amazing answer. Amazing. So that's the reason why B3 is actually a very good move, because black cannot contain the structure.
And the problem is, right, if you take that pawn, you are trading on white's terms because white will recapture with the pawn. The rook will be really nicely placed on the file already. A side pawn has moved towards the center of the board. That's always pleasant. And even the next break will be in the air at
See,
some point,
yes.
at the right moment.
And also we have this concept of pawn islands कि एक position में कितने pawns साथ में है. So here white has 2 pawn islands while black has 3, because यहाँ पे as Sailva has marked here 3 pawn islands for black. So this would definitely give Guki a small edge.
Yeah.
Do you think when Gukesh's team sat down, they were like कि जो game 2 में end game में हमने problems उनको दिए थे, that is where Ding struggled. So let's move towards some sort of end game position जहाँ पे एक हल्का सा edge हो.
I guess that might. I mean, when the game match began, I thought Gukesh is a better calculator than Ding, so he should play sharp positions. But maybe as the match is going on, in sharp position, Ding outplayed Gukesh, and in endgame, Gukesh outplayed Ding. So we don't know where it is heading.
Sagar bhai, I actually have a question here.
Yes.
You've always mentioned on streams that it's better to have more of your pieces developed. But right now, you want a pawn break first. After that, what happens with your pieces? I mean, which apart from the knights, the bishops, don't you think that feels a little congested over there?
That's a very good question, Balraj. I would have loved to develop my pieces, but as we said, you know, that tension with the pawns,
Yeah.
with B3, B5, A4, and you can't play A6.
Yeah.
So I'm taking advantage of that, your rook being undefended right now,
Yes.
and doing this, because if you are able to defend your rook, then maybe I won't have that edge. So it's about maybe timeliness here, but it's quite possible that Gukesh may not play b3, Tanya. Any other moves that come to your mind?
I think b3 will happen at some point. The one thing that you can throw in, right, talking about piece activity, Black's rook on the open file. It's the more active rook. Why not trade that rook forcefully? You can also throw in a check on e1, rook e1 check, exchange karo, then go for the idea of b3. Because at the end of that, I'm thinking I've taken off a really great piece of yours, with my rook, which is not on the open file.
That's a very good point. And that's also a way to play here, rook check and b3 or directly b3. And I feel like this position, Gukesh has to be very precise क्योंकि इतना छोटा सा edge है. If he doesn't play accurately, it will all go away and the game will end in a draw. So he has to really play carefully.
It's sort of like a cat and mouse game, this feels to me, because I'm wondering, and I'd love to hear all your thoughts on this, that Team Ding might feel that Team Gukesh, or Gukesh as a player, he's always looking to create imbalance, and in that process, sometimes he overpushes. There are moves that have happened in this World Championship match where the ambitious play by Gukesh has caused him trouble. So Team Ding wants those kind of middle game positions where Gukesh tries to get really far ahead, and in that process, you end up giving your opponent opportunities.
Correct.
Meanwhile, Team Gukesh is feeling that with all the struggles and challenges that we've been seeing by Ding, it's usually in a longer game. It's in these long grinds. Ding himself refused to continue game 2 to a long game which he could have. He's not comfortable there. So are both adjusting to each other's dynamics here?
I'm not sure.
Honestly.
Very honest answer, but I guess that seems like what is happening here, especially with Gukesh going for exchange French, Queen E2 check. But I am for the first time seeing a body language by Gukesh that is a little bit more softer, like ऐसे एकदम ही बैठ के सोच रहा है, and Ding is looking much more relaxed today.
या सागर भाई, and चैट कह रही कि हमारी मांगे पूरी करो, हमें बताओ बिशप g5 पे क्या हो रहा है, लेकिन why can't we just pin this knight, and if you go back then I damage your structure.
That's a very good point.
So
what about h6 style?
Yeah.
Because now if you give a check, I will block with the bishop. And if you take my knight, I will take with the king. And perhaps it doesn't really spoil anything yet.
Yeah, you don't want to give up a bishop pair in this position. So only do it if you're actually getting something in return immediately. Also that g5 square, like you said, knight aa sakta hai wahan pe to put pressure. I would think it's between two moves. b3 directly or give a check and trade first. Kya hone wala hai? Predictions.
I think it will be b3 first. Because I think he wants to go for a more solid pawn break, as you said. That feels a lot more solid to me.
So b3 and rook e1 are options. Guys, anyone else has any other option apart from that? Yes?
Yes, yeah.
Knight d2.
Very logical.
Also possible, but you kind of block your bishop. You are not putting pressure. You give me one more move, and perhaps that is all that I need, to kind of equalize here. I don't know, maybe knight c6 just develop here, or bishop d7 could also be played.
You call this losing tempo?
Yeah, it's a little slow. I think it's a little slow. You need to make use of this moment. थोड़ा slow हो रहा है knight d2, and it gives black that development. So I guess that's why you see Tanya is trying for forcing moves. Rook e1 check, b3. She's not trying to develop a piece just like that.
Very concluding moves, basically.
Yeah.
Because timing is everything. You give black a developing move, and then that b5 a6 will work because the rook on a8 will be defended. So our idea of striking will not happen. अगर black का knight आ जाए और bishop बाहर आ जाए, the rook defends laterally. So that's rooks get connected.
Yeah.
Black's absolutely fine. Black might even take the initiative with knight c6, bishop d7, b5, a5. Timing is everything.
Tanya, I have one question.
I'm
We
scared.
every day do the ambit gambit of the day. Would you say today the first move itself, e4, e6, is the ambit gambit of the day?
The French defense.
Yes.
I am giving it the ambit, gambit, shambit, everything of the day. I mean, this was to me. I was thinking about what is Ding going to reply for 1e4, and I felt he will go for a solid approach. But it's Gukesh who's actually gone for a long game fight. You know, I think this, if I had to predict, I feel it will be a classical world championship game. What happened?
So right, Ding.
Oh,
नहीं सोच रहा है भाई.
Chill है.
but सोच क्या रहा है लेकिन?
वेट कर रहा है वो, कह रहा है कि भाई चाल चल दो.
मेडिटेट कर रहा होगा.
अरे यार 4 घंटा तैयारी की एंड गेम खेलना पड़ रहा है.
Ding chilling.
I would have loved to know what Amruta would have said.
Amruta would have had her jokes here, but Balraj bhai, in super chat, Joy Datta has asked,
Yes.
it's great to see you all. Balraj bhai, how would you rate Ding performance out of 10?
Oh, nice question.
Right
this
now,
event.
Considering Tanya's reaction to
Arre.
his opening today, I would give him an additional 3 points. So,
So 3.
well, Tanya, you've seen a lot of India's Got Latent clearly.
No, I think yeah, but go on.
I think that this is a testament, both of these champions fighting it out. I don't think I'm in a position to give a rating to any of them considering what my understanding of chess is.
भाई आप India's Got Latent में तो points देते हो ना, वैसे ही इधर हो जाए.